grade 4, so age 8. And it really comes down to a primary school teacher of mine, Martin Arnold, classroom teacher, Baroque recorder enthusiast, Melbourne chorale he sang in, and he ran this sort of ragtag primary school 30-piece orchestra, all off his own bat. Sucked me into the classroom recorder thing, and I'd already been primed by the people doing it the year before. Descant recorder, if you learn this piece you can get a bigger recorder. I got into a tenor recorder, and then I think the Easter break there was a oboe, a French horn or a tuba. And he offered me the tuba first. Do you know what this is? Yes, that's a tuba, and I think that was the done deal. And yeah, tuba was the one. I like big stuff, and I didn't really think about what it did or how much it weighed or any of that stuff. So
you were 8 when you started playing tuba?
Yes, yeah, nearly 9 when yeah.
And how was it as a 9-year-old boy playing the tuba?
Oh, look, I really liked it. I had a little stool that I used to sit on in front to get it low enough, sort of thing. It's very heavy to carry the case from the classroom to the... Yeah, I liked it, I think. And yeah.
And when did you decide that this might be your profession?
Look, I reckon the bug started. It was the year before. I remember I could just show you the time and place in Melbourne, the top of a street on my way home, and someone was playing this tune, which ended up being the tune I had to learn to get the bigger recorder, and there was like some kind of bell going off. That, geez, I want to do music, I think. And there was a recording Dad had of Aida, the overture. At one point, I listened to all of that and made him play it again and again and again and again, kind of thing. That still does it for me, the Grand March. And then it just snowballed, really. I got on to a really, really good teacher when I was about 9. And yeah, I was very, very lucky to always be in groups of musicians who were older and better than me. And the tuba parts are relatively straightforward, so I just always was chasing, and just people putting out really good examples, and I really enjoyed that, I have to say. I knew I was lucky to be in this position. Yeah.
What kind of orchestral or ensemble experiences did you have along the way before you actually were in a professional position?
Yeah. So 8, the primary school orchestra. As soon as I could get anywhere near it, I read the music for the first page of music and went to the top line of the second page, and it just let me go on and on and on and on. Must have been horrendous. So there was that one. And then I got put on to a local Melbourne professional. It was just one suburb away, or maybe within the year. And he took me on and play in my ear and put his big metronome on and do, pound out all of these studies. He was the conductor of quite a good brass band. And I was in there by the end of primary school, I think. So the primary school orchestra, the high school band, they were half decent. And I still the brass band, I became involved with the Melbourne Youth Music Council. So I played in their symphonic bands and the Percy Granger Youth Orchestra, and then they came running in one day, we need a tuba player, we need it for the MYO, and I was in that maybe by the time I was 11, I think, maybe 2 years in the, very lucky, Gordon Webb, principal trumpet of the London Philharmonic, and John Hopkins conducting. The real sort of, yeah, to go, I never knew what he was saying. I stuffed that up, don't know what's going on. Yeah. So, and way over my head. But there was, for whatever reason, there was nobody else around, and I was it. And I'd at least give it a go. Get a little bit better the next week, I think, enough. Yeah.
What do you do to get ready for a rehearsal these days?
A rehearsal? In an ideal world, I reckon I would have had my mouthpiece out, probably at the piano at home, going through a basic sort of set of embouchure, airflow kind of drills. That goes along with having young children, and also I don't have to sit down and hurt my back any more than I have to. Nice standing up sort of thing. So I do that, get into work, have a cup of tea, a bit of a chat to somebody, and I'd like to play 15 minutes on the actual instrument, just checking the sounds right and make sure it's working, and then I'm ready to go. That would be a ideal sort of setup. If I'm playing lots and lots and lots, you almost feel like you're warm from the day before. You stick it on your face. Oh yeah, I remember this. I might skimp a bit towards the end of the week, or coming up to the concert.
What kind of demands are there on your body when you have to play such a large instrument?
For me, the main one is muscular and back, and getting dragged by this heavy object into a strange position and twisting. You've got tuba across your face. It's very tempting to do like that so you can see. And this was my very first lesson with this fellow, John Butler, I was talking about before. Sit up straight. I've got a sore back. You'll get one. And you ignore that until you're about 30. You go, oh, my back's sore. So I had a bit of lower backy sort of stuff. I've sorted that out. Been going to see the physio all this year. But yeah, making sure that I sit up straight, and I've got some good stretchy stuff. Muscles of the face, not like a trumpet or a trombone. If it's a really, really big week, you're delivering an enormous amount of air, and your muscles, sort of your breathing muscles, fatigue a little bit, but yeah, a bit of hyperventilation from time to time. Sort of get used to that, I guess. Body seems to be able to deal with it once, it seems to know, no, we've got enough oxygen. You do it a few times.
And what's it like sitting at the back of the orchestra?
Look, it's a really good vantage point to listen to stuff. You're an observer, whether you like it or not. Most of the time you'd like to be a participant more than you are. I've found myself doing quite a lot of arranging, partly because some weeks I'm not required with the TSO, but having sat in orchestras regularly since I was 13, I have a very good kind of idea of, and not playing, so I'm there doing, what am I going to think about now? And I reckon I have a good idea of how loud, for instance, a clarinet is in this register compared to, say, a flute in that register, and if the brass were to come in here, they'd mask it or they wouldn't mask it. So I like music the most rather than tuba. The tuba's just the bit that I'm sort of good at, that gets me, they're my ticket into these places. It really wouldn't matter what it was, in a way. So I kind of enjoy that. It's not bad for your ears. I'd hate to sit in front of trombones. I get an enormous amount of spill off stands and stuff, but right in front of the brass section's frightening, really, volumes. So that's kind of good. That's protective. Yeah. I enjoy the bass function. Look, I'm either operating as an auxiliary bass player. I think it's like the mega bass button on a ghetto blaster a bit, or I'm working very closely with the trombone trumpet section. So we've got my chain of command, first trombone, who's taking it off the first trumpet and putting it all together. So very important to support my colleagues. Attack, it's always more than you think it is in the practice room. For clarity in a large hall, it really rounds it off, and you think you're really articulating, and it's So a lot of attack. Release has got to be exactly right in the right circumstance. It's great to have that little tiny bass overhang just to warm the chord. So there's a little bit of that. Most of the time I'm going to hang over anyway, I guess, with the nature of the instrument. But sometimes it just feels nice to just hang around a little bit. Get out just before the bass players get out. I don't want to be the last guy standing, but yeah, I'll melt into their tail. Yeah.
When you're on an audition panel and you're auditioning for potential players
yes.
in the orchestra, what does a good applicant do? How do they sound? What are they showing?
They sound unbelievable. That's a good applicant. The best, everyone's really, really good, and some people are exceptional. And I would say the unanimous thing, it's great when you've got a unanimous winner and someone blitzes it. And often someone does. Sometimes it's two people blitzing it, and that's like, how are we going to separate these people? And the good auditions I've heard, they just get better and better and better. There's sort of the first round behind the screen. They don't know if we like them and all of that. The second you're through to the second round, that seems to say, oh, these people like me, and then they take off. It's better and better, and now I'm on the third round, and they go crazy. Yeah, So extraordinarily high standard is what the good applicants have. Undisputable greatness. Yeah.
Okay. And when they're in the orchestra, new to the orchestra,
Yes.
what does the orchestra expect of a new person there?
So we're talking specifically the 6-month
Yes,
trial?
Yes.
Yes.
You've got a new brass person.
Yes. All right. First we want to hear that they sounded as good as their audition. So first thing really, all that's left is, can you fit into the ensemble? And do you play exceptionally loud compared to other people and don't back down when you're asked to? Yeah, how do they fit in tone-wise, whether they blend, I would say. Intonation, extremely important. General style, do they have the same sort of attack? If they don't, are they immediately making moves to come to our zone? And there will still be chance for them to colour the section in a new way. People might start travelling a little towards them. It really helps if they're a nice sort of community-minded person as to your local brass community. That actually can't have any bearing on who you appoint ultimately, but it does. It's a little family. We all need to work together, go to battle together, kind of. Yeah.
Were you always attracted to classical music?
No. I'm one of those, there's good music and bad music kind of people. I do love music with a rhythm section, with a beat. And I think orchestra's slowly acquired taste. And from my economist father had me in the MYO. I think he Melbourne Youth Orchestra, he worked out this is the only way my son's ever going to get some kind of a wage. There's a plan behind all of that, I reckon. But no, I do enjoy it, and the older I get, and the more I hear it, the quality of the art. I really enjoy playing the great masterpieces. They are sensational pieces of art, and I particularly enjoy the quality of my colleagues. And it's very inspiring to be around so many good musicians, and I don't find that anywhere else, really. I think it's ultimately the wage keeping everyone together. Yeah, and I'm not a good enough jazz player to play with that kind of level of jazz guys, but yeah, no, I do like it. And you get terrific conductors, and yeah, there's always inspiration and always somebody really excelling at what they do. It keeps me going. Yeah.
Have you ever had a piece of advice that has really, really resonated with you, that you think, oh?
Yep, a couple. I read the preview question. A fellow called Jeffrey Brand, who was a London trumpet player and then constantly, you're nodding your head as a clarinetist, yeah. He was at a music camp in Launceston, nearly 15, 16 years ago. And I wasn't a particularly psychologically, feeling like I was a world beater kind of thing. And I asked him, you've been listening to me, you're a brass player, what should I do? What should I do? And he said, believe in yourself. I went, oh, yeah, but he goes, look, you don't believe in yourself because you're already giving me this stuff. Believe in yourself. That's everything. You believe in what... He was a religious Christian Science, perhaps, sort of thing. It was another stream I hadn't heard of, nothing kooky, but he was a religious man, and he was saying, you don't insult God, you've got everything inside you. And by the end of the week, I said, oh, yeah, that's starting to work for me. He goes, I know it is. So that for me, those particular words at that particular time in my life, very strong. And there's another one recently. There's Dr. Jauncey, he's up at Anam now. He was business psychologist coach, and then Australian cricket coach for Queensland. And Paul Dean has him in. He's a cricket fan. Anyway, one of these articles in the Herald Sun about Dr. Jauncey, and I read all of that, and there's a little thing I cut out and laminated. It's on the fridge. Dr. Jauncey's 6 steps to success. And which is all very, very fine, but the one that really, really resonated, and I handed it out this week, is concentrate on what you're doing, not how you're feeling. And that really, really helped me to concentrate on doing the task rather than can I do it or can't I do it, and this is hard and this is da-da-da-da-da-da. I live by that one. That's best professional advice I've ever got.
For the students at when they're in the sectional, what have you been working on with them?
All right. So they're at various levels. First and foremost, the right notes in the right place, in tune, balanced. So a lot of ensemble work to make sure that things are ringing well. We've been working with Scott Kinmont. He's really good on which part of the chord and which function, and actually there's 2 Gs here, you go a bit softer. He can balance and tune up a trombone section like I haven't seen before. And then little bits of sort of stylistic stuff, and this is how it went down when we played it with such and such a conductor. I suppose you're letting people know the various parameters of, we're talking Bruckner this week. Bit of leaning on people to let them know where they stand in the general thing. And I guess promoting a good group working together module that can then go and fit into the orchestra, and they know as a little group this is our plan, this is how we're going to approach this, and then the conductor can tweak that or tell them you know not long, all short, or whatever it might be. And a lot of warming up actually. We get in at 8:30. Trombones are crazy about warm-ups, drills and things. So yeah, a lot of just very fundamental playing and top to, you know, middle to bottom to the top to down, yeah, that sort of thing. And that would promote the section playing as good as anything else, I think. After 2 hours of that, you're ready to tackle some orchestral parts.
Do you think students do that on their own?
Some do. Yeah, Anam, you'd find that constantly, I think. Sydney Con, I'm talking low brass, which is the people I sort of know. Yeah, I remember at a brass festival 2 or 3 years ago, 3 trombones and a tuba coming out of the Sydney Con, and they obviously had spent hours upon hours upon hours playing excerpts in particular at high volume, but very impressively. And as a you know, you could just slot them in just about any orchestra, the way I heard it. A bit softer. Yeah. As the Viennese guy said, a little less violence.
When you're in the orchestra and you know that a new conductor's coming,
yes,
is there anything you do in particular?
You practice a little bit more because you don't want to stick out. Yeah, that's probably the truth. No, just get yourself in tip-top shape. People will make impressions very quickly. It's a big organisation. You don't want to have the wrong impression made of yourself. Some people are, you know, some conductors are a lot more forgiving than others. Some are quite cut and dry and make up their mind very quick. It's not in your interests to be on the wrong side of the ledger. Yeah.
And for you, when you're playing well, what is it about your playing that you're really liking? It sounds good. I'm kind of actually a bit pleased with the sound. Oh yeah, that was all right. I'm really quite accurate. I'd like to think I'm playing deadly in tune, and you might want to ask my colleagues about that. I'm feeling quite confident. So there's a psychological thing. I don't know how you get that. You've got to be in good shape and have done the work to be confident. It doesn't always translate. And you know, if it's a piece of music you really like, but there's a keenness. You want to get there and you want to play music with your colleagues. I wouldn't say who are your favourite composers, but I'd say who writes really well for brass that when you see it's coming up, you go, it's going to be a good week for brass.
Yep. Oh, there's a number of them. For tuba in particular, Prokofiev, and just the general sound of his music, but he writes fabulous low tuba parts, and you often with the basses. Ridiculous amounts to play compared to everything else. Mahler's wonderful. That's not really regular TSO stuff. So TSO-wise, Tchaikovsky I love to play. It's just fabulously put together. And the writing for the various sections, but when it's brass time, it's very satisfying. Yeah. Just rings, and it's exciting when it's supposed to be exciting. The chorales are beautiful.
I think you've almost answered my next question, which is really what's the greatest joy of playing in an orchestra?
I think being full flight in a concert, good repertoire, good conductor. There's a momentum that I sense that happens on a good show. And, you know, it'll start well, and quite often there'll be someone's got to do some horrendous, nasty thing, you know, really early on, and they go in and they take the charge and they really do a good job, and you can almost feel everyone go, okay, it's going to be a good night. You know, if you have a little fender bender at the start, everyone, oh, that's right, you remember, that's right, I could really mess this up bad. But there's a momentum, and then after, I reckon about 10 minutes in the overture, like tennis players talk about, the ball was as big as a basketball, everyone just gets comfy and it gets better and better, and yeah, I love that momentum. And you can feel the crowd, and you know, in the last symphony they're going to go crazy for this, and there's a big, you know, ending, and everything's set. Fabulous soloist's going to come out and dazzle them, and then after the interval, you know, you're going to love this. So yeah, that's what there's a lot of effort to get to these little short, glorious moments.
And what's your favourite part about the rehearsals?
Favourite part about a rehearsal? Favourite part would be getting it pretty good right early on. Thinking, yeah, I'm all right and I can build on this, I've got time to build on it. If it's good music, just hearing the music. Being introduced to new masterpieces that you weren't that familiar with, and hearing them repeatedly over the week, and pennies dropping as to, oh, I see, that relates to that. And yeah, you get to hear a little bit of the structure of the thing. Oh, I never heard that woodwind bit, or that's clever. Yeah. Working with your colleagues. Yeah.
And what's the biggest challenge?
I reckon just getting it right to your own satisfaction, or to other people's satisfaction. Yeah. And it's not just the notes, but the musically, it's everything. I feel like we're pursuing perfection, and we're never going to get there, but you see how close to it you can get. What would it be? Fulfilling your own personal potential, I think. Getting as close to, you know, I don't think I could have done that any better right now, right here. Yep. And that bit that went bad in the rehearsal didn't go bad. Boy, I'm pleased about that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think we're done. That was lovely.